How are you?
I'm great, man. How are you?
You look awesome.
So
You
do
look
you.
good.
You look great. You're looking good.
I, I'm headed to 62 on Tuesday.
No way.
62, yeah.
Whoa,
I
62
know.
and still crushing it. Did a big run today.
No, no, hey, there she is.
Hey, Robin. How's it going? I was going to tell you to send my love to Robin, but
There you go.
just did it.
Done deal. Yeah, this morning we were gonna do a Lake Geneva run, but weather was really, really crappy here. So
Really?
yeah, it cleaned up a little bit in the afternoon, but by then we had some other stuff going. So
Okay. It's
yeah,
all good.
yeah,
How have you been?
I've been good.
Good.
Yeah, good. I've
Good.
been I took a corporate step backwards like about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Ease up on the travel and like not having direct reports, people reporting to me.
Uh,
So I took a lead analyst role, and now of course I went backwards, and now I've gone back again. So now I'm a manager again, but I don't have anybody reporting to me. So
okay.
that's I'm
Okay.
good.
That's
I'm
good.
cool with that.
Nice.
Yeah, kind of slowing down, thinking of retirement, maybe a year and a half.
Okay.
Call it quits.
Nice. Then
Yeah.
what are you going
How
to do?
about, I don't know. Crush it. What
uh,
about you?
life is good, man. Life is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was so good to hear from you yesterday, man. I just wanted to catch up with. And for anybody listening, Marty KC is the patron saint of ultra marathon pacers. he's done some big ultra marathons himself, and this is the guy that paced me through my first Kettle 100, which was my first 100, my first Leadville 100, my first Western States 100, like all the big ones. He was there to watch me puke through all of them.
I forgot about that. I forgot
Oh,
about
come on.
No, I forgot about the first one. I
Yeah.
remember the Leadville, but yeah, I completely forgot that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I paced you through three. Yeah, I did. I think I definitely paced more people than I've even attempted to run hundreds. I mean, I tried three. I got one just to get that monkey off my back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I paced you at least those three times. I'm trying to think if there was another one. Shane, my friend Angela Barbera, Tina Johnson, so some people from the lap group, Matt Bartz and Tina actually did it at the same time, which was kind of an interesting story. Yeah, so those are fun. You give up, you try to get back to the sport as much as you can. When you're out there running and people are there supporting you. So if you 2 for 1, pay it forward. So
Yeah.
and I haven't. The last really big adventure I did was Arizona. We did the Grand Canyon, the rim to rim, but that was probably like 2017, 18.
Okay.
So yeah, that's, pretty much. So, and then, but in the meantime, still supporting, I volunteered at Ice Age, the local 50, volunteer at Glacial up in the Northern Kettle. So there's always still those opportunities to hang around, be a part of the ultra scene.
For sure. That's what we're doing too, man. I'm just trying to sort of give back a little bit and help people with pacing, crewing, volunteering at races. We're doing it all. And all my pacing secrets came from you, man.
Let's see. Here, try this purple gel. That's the only one I can remember. That didn't work out.
Nope, that didn't work. No. Okay, don't try purple. Try green. Oh,
interesting.
man.
Yeah, that Leadville one. I think that was kind of a. I actually wrote a blog post on that, and I called it Leadville. I forget what year it was. Leadville Circus, because it was we had Maggie, we had Tanya, we had a dog, we had just that. So just the logistics of that race are really. I mean, obviously any mountain race is going to have difficult logistics, but chasing you around Leadville with that crew, yeah, that was That was interesting.
Logistical nightmare with that crew. And
you remember
car up?
Oh God, yeah, I forgot about that. I had a post. Yeah, those are always. But you know what? The stories of adversity, right? They stick with you.
Totally.
The weird little. So do you remember that we met you? I forget what aid station it was. It was at Leadville, probably in the high 40, something like that, because it was still daylight out. And you turned to Tanya and you said, "Hey, where's my Carbo Pro?" Do you remember that?
Where they lost my drop bag?
Yeah. And you looked at her and she said, never mind. And we retraced our steps and we found that bag. It was still where we had parked the car, which was kind of crazy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I remember, let's see, one of the aid stations I think you guys missed me at. Probably through no fault of your own. I mean, it's just, there's so much traffic and so many people out there. And I got it in my head that, and I don't know where this came from the altitude, all the miles on my legs. I don't know. I got it in my head that you guys were out playing with my dog, Roxy, because you were dog sitting while you were crewing and pacing. I got it in my head that, like, Roxy got ran over by a car and you guys didn't want to face me.
Isn't that funny? The self-talk that you do.
That's so weird. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah. Well, you're pretty vulnerable. Think of how many hours you're out there and you become extremely vulnerable. And I think that the self-talk is a big part of whether you're going to be a success or not. And your crew can do the same thing. Your crew could turn a bad experience. So you come to an aid station and you feel like crap and you were expecting people to be there. The way we treat you and the way we talk to you is super vital. I mean, we can talk you out of a race pretty easily, because your mental state is just mush. It's very malleable. We probably could have hypnotized you. That would have been interesting.
Maybe I could have done better.
Run faster. You're a young guy. You got to run fast. Yeah, that was interesting. But it's funny how you have those memories and experiences. So do you remember Dima?
Yes.
Yeah. So I saw Dima at the Kettle 100 one year, and we were at mile 63 or on the way. It was on the way back in.
Great.
Yeah, he is
great guy.
And there was a person that was going to drop at that aid station, and they were insistent, and no one could talk him out of it. And Dima went over, and he talked him back into the race,
really?
and that guy finished.
Wow.
And that guy finished. So you're malleable. You when you make up your mind, you're going to quit. Eat some M&Ms, have somebody try to talk you out of it.
It's true.
So,
yeah. Well, Dima talked me into, I was in a bad headspace. I think it was my second Kettle Moraine 100. And I was in a bad headspace by the time I was at mile, maybe 50 or 60. And I just sat down and I'm sick to my stomach. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do it, you guys. And he came up to me and he's got like this shamanic deep voice. And he's like, Adam, listen to me. He's like, I want you to breathe. And somehow he got me going. And then Laura Allman came over and she's like, you've got this, you can do this. And she just made everything sound so easy and got me up on my feet and kept moving again. And yeah, it's just, people can just talk you into anything out there.
So tell me about the crew. What's the deal?
Yeah. So I started this company. We started it in 2019. It's called Big Things Crewing. And so we're coaching people and we're also crewing and pacing people. So if someone comes to Colorado and they don't know anybody out here, they can look us up. We can go out, we can crew them, we can pace them, we can do whatever they need.
Right. Nice.
And so we got a whole mess of people. We're going to be crewing at Leadville this year, a couple other big races, and we're in with some race directors. So we're kind of, it's like, we want to get in with the runners, right? And we want these guys to know who we are. We're safe, we're trustable, dependable. We've done this before. We know the races, but we also wanted to get in with the race directors as well. So we're not sneaking back door and making money at their races.
Right.
And, the whole pacing thing is, you know, one of my favorite things about ultras is having your friends and family come out to pace you, you know, and you guys like came tirelessly and slept on floors and spent your own money and did everything that you had to do for me to get to the finish line, which was amazing. And so it was a little awkward, you know, charging money for pacing duties. But, you know, like I said, if somebody doesn't know anyone out here in Colorado, they can look us up and, you know, we're pacing people from Nashville, from Texas, from Florida, all kinds of people that just don't have a lot of friends out here. And, you know, it's not always easy to get your friends to fly across the country, or you know, some say they'll do it and then last minute they back out. So we're like kind of a security measure that people can lock us down and we'll,
and I bet you don't lose people's bags either.
No, we don't. We try not to anyways.
Well, I think that's a great service. You know, it's like you said, I had actually a runner from Colorado come to run the Kettle a few years ago, and hooked up with her through, I think, the Lapham Peak Facebook group. So she said, "Hey, I don't know anybody. You know, can somebody come out and help?" So, but you think about her, she was coming to Wisconsin. I'd never met her before other than Facebook. And she's trusting that I'm going to be there. Right. So like you said, like, all right, I don't even know this guy. He could just pull a complete no-show on me. And then where the heck am I going to be?
Right.
So it was a little awkward for her at first, you know, and in your situation where people are funding, you know, are paying you, there's that professional layer so that you know, there's an expectation of deliver for goods and services. But with this woman, her name was Katie O'Brien. Anyway, I can't remember her last name. You know, hey, you know, can anybody pace me? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? You know, I'll meet you at X place. So she was at the packet pickup, which is the night before the race. So she's never met me. You know, we haven't even talked on the telephone. So, you know, you have that trust. Like, do you throw that out there and hope, or do you just say get that out of the way for peace of mind? That's great.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun, man. And, you know, like you said, it's a way to sort of give back to the sport. And, you know, I've been running ultras, both of us have, for, you know, a decade or more. And it's like, once you've acquired the knowledge, you know, the races, you know how to look at someone at mile 60 and you know just what they need to keep them going. It's like, let's pass some of that knowledge on. Let's help some other people. And the sport of ultramarathon is still just growing, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. And people are coming over from marathon and from triathlon. And plus, after all the races were shut down last year, everyone's so hungry to race this year. So
do you see it opening up from your vantage point, since you're so close to the races? Are you seeing it? Like, is there a date for Leadville's on, right? That's August.
Right.
They're just planning on it being on. Well, that makes sense.
Yep.
So August for sure. I'm part of the Ice Age group in terms of I drive one of the supply trucks. So part of the, I guess, quote unquote management team. And Jeff moved it. That was May. So they were coming into that point where the DNR wasn't willing to make a guarantee that they could have the building open for them to run the race in May. And Jeff, you know, like any race director, and even small races, you need a pretty good window, you know, to make sure that you've got volunteers and food and all the stuff that you know, so you pretty much, you have a commitment ahead of time. And it takes a really long window. So if people are thinking, oh, why did they, you know, things are going to be fine by then, by mid-May, although right now I'm not so sure. But, you know, Jeff is thinking like back in January, like, what do I got to do? You know, what do I have to be ready for? And, you know, to see that far out for him was just about impossible. So he pushed it. So right now, I think it's early September.
Oh, really?
So that's a May race. Now, I have not heard about Kettle. Because Kettle's going to be in the same boat, right? It's the first week of June. It sounds like a long way away, but, you know, you're talking about 6 weeks. Those race directors are already, you know, getting their supplies and lining up their volunteers and, you know, doing whatever they need to do to put on a successful race. So I have not seen whether they're actually going to have it or not.
Yeah. Well, in talks with all the race directors around here, it's like most of them are planning on moving forward. But, you know, if a week before or even a couple of days before, the DNR or the land management just says, no, we can't do it, then they just have to pull the plug just like that. So
Right.
it's like they're planning on moving forward, and they have all these contingency plans. Like everyone's going to wear a mask. There's going to be social distancing. It's going to be a staggered start. It's like, we'll do
Right.
everything we can, but, you know, the land management and the DNR is who has the final say, and they can pull the plug at the last minute.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And then what happens? The race director can't refund because they're trying to cover all of their expenses that they've definitely incurred. And so then the runners have a tendency to go, well, you know, you didn't deliver. I should get a refund. And so then the race director looks bad, you know, and through no fault of his own.
Right.
So it's a tough spot. It's a tough spot in the next 2 or 3 months to say, you know, here's the date that we can sort of guarantee that everything is going to be okay.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of the races are kind of going to disappear. You know, some of the smaller races that weren't necessarily fully established, or the race directors that were in it for the wrong reasons, maybe just trying to make a couple bucks. You know, those races are just not going to come back because last year killed them. You know, most of these races are just barely staying afloat as it is.
Right. Yeah. It's, if you want to make $1 million, you know, running a race, start with 2 million. It just sounds like a losing proposition to me.
No kidding.
Like, yeah. I admire those guys so much.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And I feel bad for them all too. I mean, yeah, there was one race director here that we work pretty closely with, and he was able to keep all of his races on last year. He's got a really close relationship with the DNR and all of his folks that issue him his permits. And as soon as COVID hit, he was coming up with backup plans and plans that he can continue his races and keep everything going, like, you know, masks, and we're going to take everybody's temperature beforehand, and they let him continue. So I think he was the only race director that kept all of his races throughout 2020, which was pretty amazing.
Very amazing.
And his numbers were better than ever because, you know, there wasn't really any other races going on.
Nope. But it's where you had to go.
Yeah, man. So listen, I wanted to go back. I'm trying to remember the very first time we met, Marty. I think it was at the on the Rockport trails when we were out running, and we didn't know each other, and we just bumped into each other running. Right. Does that sound right to you?
It's exactly right. And, you know, ironically, I think Robin was with me.
I thought so. Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. So she's known you as long as I have.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
And at the time, it's like, hey, cool, another ultra. Oh, by the way, I'm moving to Colorado. Well, you shit.
Oh, but the coolest thing is you know, I think I told you, like, I had some race plans and stuff coming up, and right away you were like, oh, I'll pace you. I'm on board. And I was like, cool. Who is this guy? This guy's awesome. Perfect. I need somebody.
Well, you're pretty easy to pace. You're way faster than me, so I need you to put 60 miles on your legs so that you get beat up, so I can actually keep up with you.
Oh, shoot. Yeah. And so the first time you paced me was at Kettle 100, my first 100. And you got me into the finish line there. And yeah, man. And from there we had a good working relationship, and you were my king pacer, man.
I have some of the best stories and best memories of those times. So
tell me, I'm curious what your memories are, because I've got probably different ones.
Well, you heard my Leadville.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember. There really wasn't anything weird that happened at Western States. Not really.
I don't think so. What I remember is when you started pacing me, I was just so ready for you. I was like, oh, okay, Marty, I get to hang with Marty for 20 or 30 miles. Like this is going to be perfect. Like I was just so ready for you and your energy. And I had ran, I don't know, 50 or 60 miles by myself. And I was
63,
just so,
I think.
Yeah. I think you're right. I was just ready for you, man. And I was like, okay, let's do it, bud. Keep me
Do you
going.
remember? Do you remember coming out of? Is it Hell's not Hell's Kitchen? Um, what do they call that in Western states? That low part. Do you remember?
People are gonna hate me for not remembering, but
I know. Anyway, something like that. But you had gone over a peak and you had gone down into that low section. I think it was mile 54. And the reason I remember it is because that aid station had a poster, and it was, "What does your pee look like?" And so they started with, and they used beer as the analogy. So on the far left was like a Bach lager, black beer. It's like, if your pee looks like this, see medical. And then they kept going to the lighter till you got to like a Miller Lite beer. So you came in. So Story, you came into that aid station, and your feet were trash. Do you remember that?
I do. Well, the only reason I remember it, I think, is because there's pictures of it. And I remember like pictures of me sitting down on the ground and like Tanya taking care of my feet. And I just had horrible trench feet.
So that's part of the story. So yeah, you came in, you had shoes that weighed 4 pounds each because they were soaking wet. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So we took them off you, and we wrung out the lining inside your shoe and then tried to like shake it around to get it a little bit drier. But do you remember what happened later on? Oh wait, no, that was Leadville. I was thinking that we actually Jess's boyfriend, you ended up wearing those stupid
Adidas.
Adidas. But that was Leadville, wasn't it? That wasn't
Leadville. Yeah, that was Leadville. Okay. Yep.
I have no idea how we got you through with did you have a second pair of shoes? I didn't think you did.
I did, but they got lost in that drop bag.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So you didn't have them.
And so yeah, you guys were like, you're pronating really bad. Like you need to switch shoes. And so it was just like, who's got size 11 shoes? Anybody? And yeah, he's like, I got these cheap shoes from Target. And I'm like, perfect. Those will work great.
I think you would have taken a pair of penny loafers right about that.
For sure. And then I ended up with some really gnarly blisters. And I'm like,
oh my God. Marty, didn't we peeled off the bottoms of your feet, didn't we?
Probably. I just remember going, Marty, I need to pull over and get these rocks out of my shoes. And you're like, I bet you anything, those aren't rocks, man. I pull over and yeah, they're blisters the size of rocks in the bottom of my feet. And I'm just like, oh, this is going to be a long walk back into town.
So for crewing purposes, if you ever get a chance to like crew somebody at Western States, and I'm sure anybody listening knows this too, when you run into an aid station, they have you stand in a tub and they wash you down and wash your legs down because it's so hot. Mm-hmm. And what happens? Your feet are in there. So by the time we saw you, your feet must have been dunked like 12 times in those buckets. So I watched another runner do the right thing. He would stop, sit down, take his shoes off, and sometimes change his socks after that wash down. So he would take a towel and literally take his socks and shoes off and dry off his feet afterwards so that they wouldn't look like yours did. You got that.
That's the smart way to do it.
Yeah. So crewing, that guy obviously had done it before, so he knew what was coming.
Yeah.
Getting washed down.
That's what crewing is. You're just like watching other people that look like they know what they're doing. And oh, that's a good idea. I think I'll put that one in my pocket. We'll use that one.
Yeah, and like you said, every race is a little bit different, right?
Totally.
Understanding the logistics, understanding what the needs of that particular environment. Do you need a raincoat? Do you not need a raincoat? Mm-hmm. What's the worst weather that you can remember, like the crappiest weather that would have like totally made the race suck? Was it Western States? Leadville seemed like we had like super nice weather.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad when we were out there. In Western States was pretty good weather. I mean, I've been out in some horrible weather in some races, but I think all of our adventures together, most of them were pretty decent.
Yeah. Any race that you've done, what's like the worst?
Oh gosh. I'm trying to think. Like one of the first races I did was at Kettle, and you were probably there, but I don't think I knew you yet, because I was just running a shorter distance. Actually, it was my very first 100, or it was my first ultra. It was the night run of the 100 miles.
The fun run.
The fun run. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like 38 miles, I want to say. Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
And so that was going to be my first ultra, and it was pouring rain. And I'm just like, how am I going to keep my feet dry? You know? And like, and I'm standing under the awning of the building, and they're getting ready to say go. They say go. And 10 seconds into the race, we're just soaked, head to toe, shoes, everything, just pouring rain. And we're running through these huge puddles. And I'm just like, well, 38 miles to go. This is my first ultra. This should be good.
You know, go for the worst right out of the gate.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But, you know, I've been out in, you know, the worst up at 14,000 feet with lightning storms where you got to run for cover, hail, horrible snow, hypothermic, you name it, man. We've been through it all.
Well, yeah, I mean, your Nolan's, right? That was probably pretty gnarly.
Some really gnarly ones. Yeah. Well, the thing with Nolan's was so many of the athletes that get it done are running as their job. So they've got a little more time to play with. They can set off 2-week block and they go out there and they're just waiting for the perfect weather window. And I'm always working a full-time job, and to get crew and everybody together, it's like, okay, we're taking off vacation days and this is the weekend. We're going to make it happen. I'm trained up. I'm ready. We've scouted. I know the line. Labor Day weekend, we're going to go out and do it. And then, so everything's all set. And then you go out there and it just happens to be a typhoon that weekend, you know, and this has happened to me several times. And it's like, well, let's at least try it. Let's see how it goes, you know? And then you get up after a couple peaks and you're just like hypothermic, like just horrible conditions. A couple times I've been out there and it's like, you're freezing, your hands are so frozen solid, like you can't even take a leak. You can't open up a food wrapper or anything. You're screwed. And it's just like, this is stupid. Should I even go over another peak? Like, I don't think I'm going to make it. Like, why would I continue?
Ooh, the self-talk goes straight down, right down the shitter. And then you're done. You might as well just call it a day.
Totally. Yeah.
I've never really had crappy weather for a race that I can remember. I do remember cresting Long's Peak with you and Cassie and Logan.
Yeah.
And fortunately for us, moving down off that mountain well before noon, we left at like 11:15 or 11:30, which is pretty early. But I still had pictures of those massive clouds rolling in, and we hightailed it. And me being the weakest, I'm in the rear. Do you remember this? And you guys were running
pouring on the way down, right?
And you were running up ahead, and Cassie insisted that you wait. So I'd run, and here'd be the three of you standing waiting for me. And finally, I just said, "Every man for himself. You guys just get out of here." And I think you beat me by like 20 or 25 minutes. So.
Well, it's not like we were racing out there. I mean, we all go into the woods together and we all try and come out together and make sure everyone's safe. But yeah, you're right. It was pouring rain on the way down. I just remember running down as fast as we could to try to beat the rain. And we passed some poor lady who was hiking, and she's like, "How can you run in this?" You know, because the rocks and everything are so slippery. We're just like, I don't know. We just kept running.
Like gravity help you.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
That was pretty crazy.
Uh-huh.
That was And I remember the meeting you guys. You were in the shelter. I had the car keys, and it was my car. So you guys had to wait. You guys had to wait in the shelter for me.
Give us the keys. We're leaving you, man.
I know. We were all soaking wet. Got in the car, turned the heat on, and all the windows steamed up.
Yep.
From being wet. That was cold. That rain was cold.
Oh yeah, yeah. And Logan passed out. He just slept the whole way back. Just like,
no big deal.
17 at the time, you know.
I know. Crazy kid.
Yep. Yeah.
So that was probably one of the most dangerous, I would say, you know, kind of weather situations. I've had some pretty rough weather, like in the desert. So, you know, the outside Phoenix, I did some backpacking trips. And we usually do them in mid to late February. And so daytime temperatures in the desert are perfect. You know, you get 75, 80 degrees, but it will get cold overnight. So sleeping in a tent, we were down in a valley, and we were standing around the fire. And we knew it was going to be kind of cold that night, but we hit an area that had like a temperature inversion as the sun went down. So the cold air would come down off those peaks and just roll into our valley. And we literally could feel it like on our feet and moving its way up our legs. We're like, crap, we better get to bed. I had a 2-quart water bottle sitting outside my tent that night. I forgot it and it froze overnight. So I have a picture of the thermometer. I think it was 8 degrees that night down there.
I remember you were going out there quite a bit, weren't you?
Yeah, I have a special love affair with Arizona. You know, probably from 2007 to now, I've gone at least once a year. Last year was the first year I hadn't gone at all, but sometimes up to 3 times in a year, I'd take trips out there. So speaking of 2 weeks, that's where I'll be.
Oh, really?
2 weeks from today.
Nice. Yeah. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Probably go to the canyon again.
Sweet.
You know, we got like a hotel, kind of a motel hotel, you know, near the campground.
Cool.
So we'll do the canyon. You know, the great thing about the Grand Canyon, you know this too. It's you know, just spectacular. You know, a lot of people go. I think it's the 2nd or 3rd largest visited national park in the country. You know, 11 million people, just, you know, 8 to 11 million people every year. So, but their infrastructure is set up pretty good. And if you're an early riser, you know, you can basically have the park all to yourself early. And then if you're going to do any kind of trail, 99% of the people that go don't get off the rim. You know, that's where they stay. They're just going to, you know, go out lookout points. And so the good news is it has a lot of people helping support it. But even more good news, you know, you get 1 mile below the rim and nobody's coming down. So you can have a lot of those trails to yourself.
That's true.
So I've never done the Kaibab. Have you done the Kaibab trail?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
That's what I've done both times I was out there.
Okay. But did you start at Bright Angel and then hit the Kaibab?
I'm trying to remember. Can you start from the Kaibab?
Yeah, you can. So there's a North Kaibab and a South Kaibab. So it's a little bit of a Y. So Bright Angel comes down this way, you know, and intersects with the 2 Kaibabs. And then but the Kaibab trail is a lot more difficult to get down to the river. So they meet kind of at the river. Okay. And then it turns just into the Kaibab as it crosses the river. Okay. So you got the North and the South Kaibab. So if you've gone down the Kaibab, it's not like where the lodge is. It's the South Kaibab is down a couple of miles from the main center, and it's a lot.
Can you get there via shuttle bus?
Yeah, well, that one, the route back in from the main road is shuttle bus only, and the shuttle buses on that side, I'm not sure what time they run, but there is a parking lot like out at the road, and then you can walk, and it's just an extra, you know, half mile down to the where the trailhead is. So
yep, cool. Well, that should be fun.
Yeah,
nice, man. That's one of my favorite runs. I love it out there. I love it. Yeah. How did you get started in ultra running? How did you even find this weird world?
Oh man. That's a loaded question. So 2010, I had been a marathon runner. But then as I aged, it became harder to do the training for, road marathons and be really competitive at it. So it was sort of a transition, like a lot of people, you hit a certain age, can't recover, can't train as hard, not getting the results that you were before. So you move on to something different. So 2010, thought, hey, this Dances with Dirt in Devil's Lake.
Oh yeah.
I forget where I saw the ad, like, that. And so that was my first 50K.
Nice.
Was Dances with Dirt 2010. I think I still have the shirt. Yeah, that was, and, I trained and went to that one kind of like I would have done with like a normal marathon, thinking that was it. So normal marathon, road marathon, you're lucky to get more than like 2 a year. You just beat the crap out of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, well, that's it, it's done. I did my second one, and I'll train for like maybe the spring. And then I ran into Christine Crawford running at Nordic, and she said, hey, you might be interested. There's this ultra running group called Lapham Peak Trail Runners. So this was later that same year. So I ran Dances with Dirt in July. I joined the Lapham Peak group and met all of these crazy people that were like running like races every 2 weeks, so that, like, wait a minute, I thought I could only run, 2 a year. That's right. How the marathon system worked. So, met people like Angela Barbera and Julie Trader at the time, now Julie Labrizzi, who were doing like, 100 a month, 100 miler every month, or, multiple races back to back. So I thought, well, if they can do that, I should be able to do it. Yeah. So that was July, August. I ran one in September, October, November, and December that same year. So my first one was July, and then I ran one every month all the way through December. I went down to Pine Mountain, Georgia, in December of 2010 and ran a 40-mile race in the mountains as my capper for the year.
Wow.
So, and then I bit off a lot, then I was doing like multiples during the month. I think I got 43, something like that.
Wow.
43.
Nice.
Counting that, a couple of those are DNFs, but hey, I went over the distance. So like I count Superior. I ran something like 46 miles of Superior before I called it a day. I figured, well, that's still an ultra distance.
Totally.
So
totally.
I would go, I'll put it as a DNF, but damn it, I get a tick mark for that one. Superior was a badass race. So yeah, so I got, 2010 was busy, 2011, and then I think I bit off too much. I bit off way more than I could chew. So I was doing a 50 a month, a 50 miler.
So wow.
And getting ready to try to do 100. And it was going to be Ozark in Missouri. In fact, where I met Logan was at that race.
Oh, really? That's where you met him?
I did. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, he was 16 at the time.
Yeah, I remember him doing that. Well, I don't think I knew him when he did Ozark. I think I met him shortly after. Or maybe I did know him. I met him in 2012, February 2012, with a John Dick Krusty 50K.
Yeah, Logan. So yeah, I bit off way too much that year doing 50s and trying to train for that 100. And I started having some heart arrhythmia issues from overtraining.
I remember.
So yeah, so I had to kind of back off. I went through a whole bunch of stuff. It was a little bit scary. You get that tired and your heart starts to skip a beat like every 60 seconds or so. And skip hard enough that I could feel it, which is even more scary. Mm-hmm. So did all the tests, took some time off. And that was kind of like, I started to, look at it like, I got to look at this for the long haul. Right. So bombed on that one. It took about 6 months to really try to recoup and recover. And then the next year, I think I tried Superior and DNF'd at that one. But for that one, it was a different reason. I was mile like 42. I started peeing blood. So
it's always a good sign.
Always a good sign. The good news was it was just my bladder lining was just rubbing on itself because I was so dehydrated. So so that was a bad one. But
now, was that the race that Shane did?
Yes. Yeah. Shane finished that one.
Shane finished that one. Didn't you end up going back out and pacing him?
Yeah. So I dropped at mile 46 and then I paced him the last 20.
That's awesome, dude. Didn't Shane like bump his head and get a concussion or something somewhere early in that race and just continued on anyways?
You know, I don't remember that. I don't remember him do.
You know, because he said he was like wearing a hat and he smashed his head on a branch or something, and then just like lost a whole bunch of time, and then realized he was in a race and he was like last place, and he's like, no, I can't be last place, and then he just started screaming at himself. And
that's at that point where he was last. That's the point I actually dropped.
Okay.
Superior.
Okay.
So yeah, he was the sweepers were right on his butt. So, but then, you know, he's a tough dude, man. He so came back in that race.
Yeah.
At that point, so get this. So my wife and I and a friend of mine, Todd Benson, are crewing for him. Or they're crewing for us until I drop. And at that point, Shane says, "Are you continuing on?" And I said, "I'm not sure." But Superior is one of those really weird races that sometimes it takes a really long time to get from aid station to aid station. We literally said to him, "Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow." And so it's like we wouldn't see him for 8 hours.
Okay.
So we were going to make him do like the next aid station by himself and then try to catch up with him at the one after that. But sometimes aid station and Superior, they're a long freaking way apart, not just in distance, but in time. So there's one 9-mile stretch I remember really well at night. It took me 3 hours to cover it. So it's a badass race.
That's a brutal course.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So that was great. You know, I drank about a gallon of water, came back, paced Shane. And then later that year, do you remember? You came down for T-Bunk. That was the same year.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I was like, damn it, I'm getting this monkey off my back.
Yeah, I remember.
I was so well trained.
Yeah.
You know, I was really so yeah. Superior was almost like, well, that was a warm up. Now let's do this one for real.
And then you crushed T-Bunk. You got that Hondo.
I did. Yeah, and my secondary goal even to come under 24.
Yeah, that's right. What was your time? Do you remember? Was it just under 24?
23:32, something like that.
Perfect. Beautiful.
I remember you saying to me at the time, "Hey, you beat my Western States number." I forget where you were.
Oh, dang it. Oh.
Yeah, but my race was a hell of a lot easier.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's all right. Shane and I were out there pacing you. I remember yelling at you, "Come on, Marty. This ain't no knitting party. Let's go." And you're like, I'm doing the best I can.
I was a good crew. You guys were great.
Oh, you know, we had so much fun.
I had a big crew. I think people were surprised. I think I had like 5, you know, at times I would have 5 or 6 people there.
Yeah.
So it was nice. It was nice just because the logistics of that race, it's pretty easy to crew. You don't have to go anywhere. You know, it's just a 9.1 mile loop and you do it 11 freaking times.
How old?
So logistically, yeah. Oh, well, you know, I'll tell you about that in just a second, but there is a lot mentally. There's a huge advantage to not having to think about all that. I remember obsessing completely for Superior because the aid stations were so far apart.
Yeah.
And, you know, where you could put drop bags. So you really had to think about all the logistics that went along with Superior and how many drop bags are you going to have and how much you're going to carry. And, you know, but T-Bunk, hell, dude, one spot, you know, just I'm running big circles here. I don't have to think about it. Yeah. I don't have, you know, all my stuff is there. So it makes it, so there's a lot to be said for it. I know there's some people that would think, oh man, no way I could do that. How about you? How many times have you ever like multi-looped out there?
Oh, dude, there's this one race, 24 hours of Lake Palmer. I've done it twice now. And the loop is, it's just under a mile. It's like 0.92 miles.
Oh my God. No way.
I ran it like 112 loops or something crazy. So yeah, I've done the loop thing.
I thought 9 miles was bad.
Oh,
Holy
dude.
cow.
You get so sick of seeing the same people. It's like, hi again. 10 minutes ago. How you doing?
That was good. It was good to have you there.
Oh, for sure. It was awesome. Well, so I remember like after we first met, you were just like on board for pacing, and I was so grateful to have you. But yet we didn't really know each other, and you'd come and kind of hang out at the running store, and we'd sort of talk, and we were hashing things out and making plans for the races that were coming up and stuff. And then when you started pacing me at my first 100, which was Kettle, I just remember as soon as we started running together, you're like, so tell me your life story. It's like, yeah, I guess this is a good way to get to know each other.
You got a lot of time, man. You got a lot of time.
And what I remember also was you and I were big fans of Tom Waits.
Oh, yes.
And we went through the whole alphabet of all the Tom Waits songs while we were out on the trail just to kill time.
Didn't we figure out that there's one letter he hasn't used in a title? Is it X?
It's got to be X.
Yeah. I think every other letter of the alphabet, we came up with a Tom Waits song.
Oh, I was more on point with my Tom Waits back then than I am now. I don't think I could even do that now. But we also went through all the shoe brands as well. And and not only did we go like Asics, Adidas, but we were going into subsets like the Asics, or Brooks Adrenaline. We were going even deeper. It's just like anything past the miles.
You got a lot of time.
Yeah.
A lot of time.
But you were a good pacer, because I remember my stomach would be so bad and you'd be like, dude, just give me one bite. Just give me one bite before we get to that aid station. If we get into that aid station and Tanya sees you didn't eat anything, she's going to be pissed at us. Do me a favor. Just give me one bite. And I'd give you one bite. You'd be like, all right, good job. That's my man. And we'd keep trotting along.
Nutrition is a tough thing, because it can be a very personal thing, and it can be very much a timing thing, right? But because you think of stuff that you'd want to eat like deep in a trail run that you would not think of otherwise. So like, what sounds good when you get to an aid station? Like, oh, salted pickles. Like, what? You serious?
Right. Are you pregnant?
So how do you do that with your crew? What do you do do you like ask runners like a question set, or?
For sure. We try and set it all up beforehand. We do our best to get to know them a little bit beforehand. Like, what are you going to be eating? What's your plan? What's the A plan, the B plan, the C plan? What kind of foods do you like? What's going to be in your drop bags? And then it's just improvising when you're out there too, like, what sounds good? If you can't get any food down, like, what's that one thing at the aid station you're going to be able to eat? Is it fruit? Usually fruit can go down pretty good even when you're sick.
Yeah. So mashed potatoes.
Yeah. Mashed potatoes. I've done that a couple times. Yep. So it's just, there's a little bit of improvising out there, but just do our best to make it happen. So, yeah, man. So we've had some great stories. We've had some great times.
Yeah.
We've shared a lot of time on the trails. It was always awesome. What's the summer looking like for you? You gonna do any traveling?
Get my second COVID shot tomorrow, so I'll feel a lot more comfortable about traveling.
Did you get sick?
I didn't from the first one. I got the Moderna arm.
Okay.
A little bit of a bruise, kind of sore for a day.
But did you get COVID? I mean?
Oh, no. Sorry. No.
Good.
No.
Good.
Fortunate to have a job that I was working from home even pre-pandemic.
Oh, sweet.
So, things didn't really change all that much. And so we've been pretty diligent about, no family gatherings. Family gatherings tend to be one of the bigger, spreaders, weddings and funerals and that sort of thing. So we avoided all of that. I go to the grocery store, mask up, do my duty. Not that big a deal. Haven't gone out to eat though. That's another place that's pretty much a spreader. So, it'll be nice to have both shots. And for this, like, back to your question about the summer, we'll see. We've talked about Pictured Rock up in northern Michigan. That might be more of a fall thing. So, just the usual, side trips, weekend trips, Wisconsin. So, there's lots of outdoor stuff to be done.
For sure.
How about you?
Yeah, gonna spend some time out in the Sangres. I'm doing a 200-mile race out there this summer.
What?
Yeah.
Get out of town.
If you could reach through this thing, I wish you could just slap me right now. I know it's probably a bad idea, but yeah, man, doing a 200 in September. And yeah, we're going to be out, and most of our traveling is going to be in Colorado, but we're going to be all over the state for sure. Yeah, I told you yesterday we're getting married, doing that out in the San Juans. Probably going to go up to a 14,000 foot peak if the weather's good, and say some vows up there. And then family's coming out, so that'll be all in the San Juans. We're looking forward to that, and a bunch of races. We got a couple in Utah that we're going to be volunteering at. Next weekend, we're going out to Fruita, and we're going to be volunteering at a race out there. We just bought a Mercedes Sprinter van and had that all built out.
Nice.
Yeah. So
nice.
That's like full camper now. We've got everything in there. We need stove, fridge, bed, everything. So we're going to be tooling all over the state this year, and it's going to be good. It's going to be a good summer. I can't wait.
Busy man.
Yeah. Busy, but busy good, and still trying to stay safe from all the nonsense. But
right.
Yeah, man, life is good. Be traveling a little bit. It's weird. I don't really have any ties to Wisconsin now. My family all moved out of there.
What?
Yeah.
Where'd your mom go? Where'd your mom and dad go?
So my sister got married to a gentleman in Texas, and then my family followed her out there.
Okay.
Yeah. So, they want to do the grandparent thing with Sadie. And so they all moved out to Houston. So they're living in Houston, and they love it down there. I don't think they like the hot summers, but they love living down there. And they're all like, I never thought we'd move to Houston, but they, they're digging it.
It's going to be warmer than Wisconsin, that's for sure.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, I've got friends back in Wisconsin, but no family anymore. So it's weird. I barely make it back there anymore. So it's kind of strange. How's Shane doing? You talk to him still?
We haven't much. He's pretty busy with his boys. And I'm sure his job's been a pretty big challenge this year with, being in the school.
Yeah.
That can't be, that has to be sort of time consuming. So no, we haven't kept probably in touch the way we should, but life gets in the way sometimes, especially with their young teenage boys.
Yeah. I'm sure he's got his hands full. I remember driving back to your wedding with Logan and Ashley packed into Ashley's little bug. Oh my God. That was quite the trip. Driving from Colorado to Wisconsin in that little VW bug. And I'm just like huddled up in the back seat.
Well, I really appreciate you being here.
Oh God, I wouldn't have missed it. And it was a blast. It was, you know how it was with Logan. It's like, no matter what, whenever you hang out with that kid, you always come away with a story.
Always.
Something always happens with that kid.
Yeah. He never let it get him down though.
No, not at all. Gosh. I know. I want to do a podcast here sometime soon, just like remembering Logan Polfus, and just like tell all my Logan stories, because I've got so many of them. Like, I don't do very many solo podcasts, but I just have I feel like I could ramble on for at least a couple hours with Logan stories and probably make some people laugh. And I feel like they all have to be documented one way or another. So that'll be coming up at some point.
your podcast. So this isn't none of this is. You're not actually broadcasting now. You're just recording it and then it goes out. Okay.
Yep, and then it goes out later.
I didn't know how that. Okay.
Yeah, and I think this one's going to come out on Tuesday. So
Okay.
once in a while, I'll try and get a bunch of them in the can. I'll do like a couple a week, and then I'm set up for a few weeks. I usually just release one a week. Summertime, sometimes a lot of stuff is happening with people setting FKTs and doing these big races. So I'll get anxious and drop a couple in a week. But it's been fun, man. It's just like a little side piece to the business for me to, and, you know, when COVID hit, it's like all the races are canceled. How can I stay connected? How can I, you know, talk to people like my old friends, like yourself and other badass runners out here and, you know, kind of get their stories out. So I never wanted to be a podcast host, and I'm coming in pretty late to the game. That's for sure. But I've been having a blast, man, just sitting down and having these long form conversations with people and digging into people's heads and figuring out why they do the crazy stuff they do. It's been an absolute blast. Yeah. So what else, man? What else is up with you guys? What else is new?
Well, you know, not much. You know, COVID kind of kept us pretty sequestered. We talk often about how it's, you know, when you're alone for so much of the time, getting with people can be exhausting.
Yeah.
You know, so we got together last week for Easter egg hunt, but it was outside. Everybody was outside. But, you know, that was about 3 hours long. And if you haven't been with people, you know, for a year, 3 hours is exhausting.
No kidding.
So yeah. Robin's dad passed away in January. So, you know, we're kind of like helping her mom with stuff around the house. And, you know, you start to realize, you know, what's important in your life in terms of the things that you have and how many things you're collecting. You know, so help before her dad died, I helped him, you know, kind of gather some stuff up, put it out there for sale on Facebook. And it was kind of cool because he got to pick, you know, this is what I want. And, you know, let's get rid of this. But then once he's gone, you know, the feel and vibe is different of the stuff that you're trying to sell, you know, from somebody that you were close to. So it's been an interesting couple of months. So he died in January. And of course, you know, we took over snow duties and it snowed like every other day here. So I was, you know, running back and forth and running a snowblower. So, you know, that's kind of really what, you know, what's kind of setting the tone for this early part of this year was just kind of dealing with that.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's
you still driving that badass car?
Yeah, you mean the Corvette? Yeah. I am. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's fun. You know, I kind of contemplated on, you know, if it's a hobby I want, you know, coming up on retirement. So I'm kind of toying with the idea of selling it. So I put some feelers out, thinking about it, still like driving it, you know, so just cleaned and polished it yesterday. It's just one of those kind of, it's a nice hobby to have when not much else was going on.
What year is that?
2005.
Was that like a midlife crisis buy?
No, you know, I've been like a year ahead way back in the day in my younger days. And, you know, it was just, I think my wife was having a baby shower. And so I got like kicked out of the house one day and there was like this old Mustang parked at a car lot. And so, and for whatever reason, they left it open so I could actually open the doors and sit in it. So it was a 1965 Mustang sitting on a car lot on a Sunday. It's open.
I love those old Mustangs.
Yeah.
64 to 67. I'm not much of a car guy, but I love those old Mustangs.
So sitting in that, I don't know if you've ever sat in an old car, but the smell of canvas and as the car ages, there's a certain smell for the old cars. So I kind of like got the bug and then started looking around at, you know, how much more modern do I want? You know, how old do I want it? And I'm pretty amazed at the technology that's available, you know, even in 2005. So, you know, when I got out of cars was when all the smog equipment was, you know, kind of choking them out. So the manufacturers weren't making anything that had any kind of horsepower. So So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised when I jumped back in that technology has come a long, long way in terms of what you can get out of a car. So, 2005, that it's a V8 400, it's 400 horsepower. And that's pretty big in general terms, but there are so many cars now. They're getting turbocharged V6s up into like 360 horsepower. So, so that old 2005, the technology, they just keep, making them better and better.
Yeah. So you got to upgrade, Marty.
Yeah. Tesla, right? Go all electric.
Oh, I'm surprised you haven't gotten one yet.
Yeah, hopefully in the future. I like the gasoline engine, but I totally get the environmental and global climate concerns. As an outdoors person, it's kind of an interesting hobby set to say, you get a car that burns fossil fuel, and so you get a little closer to both sides of the question. To have, I'm concerned about the environment. I'm sort of concerned about climate change and what we can do about it. So you have a respect for moving toward an electric technology because you have that concern. So
I think they're all going to be electric.
Yeah, cars are
at
fun.
Some point.
Yeah. In the not too distant future, and probably rightly so.
Yeah.
So my car will really be antique.
Dude, one of my other fondest memories is when you came out here in preparation for my Leadville. We climbed a whole bunch of 14ers trying to acclimate. You and me and Jessica. Like, how many 14ers did we climb the week before? We did.
I think 4.
4.
Yeah, I think the first. So the first
was that the week before the race? That was the week before the race.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're climbing 4 mountains. So you took me up. Quandary was my first. So you took us up Quandary the day after I think we got here.
That's right.
And then we did Albert, and then we decided we wanted to do 2 in one day.
Yep. So we did Grays
and Torres.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, dude, that was so much fun. Yeah. I just loved getting you guys up on those 14,000 foot peaks. You were coming out here to acclimate, and you're like, yeah, I've been looking at these trails and these mountains, and I think we should do this. I'm like, nah, we're going up 14ers, man. Cancel all those plans, Marty. We're doing 14ers.
Yeah, your taper week is 4 14,000 foot mountains for Leadville. Yeah.
I know. Well, guess it worked. It was a little excessive, but man, I was worried. I had that Achilles injury back at that first Leadville, and I was really worried. Like, I didn't know if I was going to be able to run even the night before. And we had to have a little group meeting, and you led the meeting.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
And you were just like, listen, we're here for you no matter what. If this doesn't happen, we still love you. We got your back. We just want you to know we're here for you, because I felt bad. I'm like I have to do this because these guys came all this way and I'm injured and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. And so you held up the little group meeting and kind of made me feel better. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll just do my best. Whatever happens, happens. And then I started at the very back of the pack. I started, how many people start Leadville? 800-900. I started at
something
the
like
back
that
of the pack and walked the first mile or maybe even 2 miles, and then slowly started jogging, trying to warm up my Achilles. And then you were at the very first aid station, May Queen aid station, and you're like, man, there's a lot of people ahead of you, man. I'm like, all right, I'm feeling good. Like, I didn't even know if I'd make it that far. And if
that's kind of bad. That's kind of bad for a crew member to say that to you. And there are a lot of people. You suck.
You probably said a lot of encouraging things, but of course, that's the only thing I remember is there's a lot of people ahead of you.
I do not remember that. Well, shame on me.
No, it was all good, man. But I was able to pass a bunch of people that day, and then my feet blew up, got some gnarly blisters, and we had to walk it in that day. But that's all right. We got it done.
Got it done.
Oh, that's a long walk back into Leadville, especially when you're just walking it. Dude, I was thankful to have you by my side.
Oh,
I couldn't have done it by myself.
Another epic adventure.
Totally. We had a bunch of them, man. So good. So good to talk to you, man. You're looking good.
You
You
too.
look great. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Are you happy?
I'm always happy.
Good. You always are happy, aren't you?
Yeah, I think that's a choice. You can,
Yeah.
it's that self-talk, I think, isn't that one of the appeals of ultra running? You can, you burn away all the I want, until you just get to the what what I need. So, that's a big part of it.
That's true. Yeah. You can learn a lot of life lessons from ultra running.
Mm-hmm.
From any sport really, but ultra running is special because you can learn a lot, and you can take those lessons learned and apply them to life,
Right.
And what's ultra running if you're just doing it just to place or just to finish? You got to take those lessons and apply them to life, to work, to
right.
relationships, to everything else in life.
I think it was a pivotal part of my life, that the 10 years or so that I was involved with running or crewing, or just being involved in the sport. I think you're right. It changes your mindset and how do you approach problems. I think you're a lot happier. You can learn to overcome a lot because your ultra running experience forces you to be a better
person, dig deep. When you come across that adversity, like, what do you do with it? I can either keep going or I can just throw in the towel, but I got friends here that are cheering for me. I can't throw in the towel, man. I got to do this.
Gotta go, man.
Yeah.
We can do that positivity, right?
That's it. Yeah. Another thing I always think about is when we were running Kettle, every time, how you're running in the middle of the night and it's just quiet, and then all of a sudden you hear a generator. So you're coming up to an aid station.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, thank God, we're almost there. And then
I can hear it.
And then we'd hear, Marty! Time you'd scream your name. Dude, we had such a good crew that year. It was so funny. I remember like introducing you to Brother John, being like, here's my buddy, Brother John, Marty. You guys are going to be working together for the next 18 hours. Good luck. I'm going for a run. See you guys in a few hours.
That's John Peralta, right?
Yep. John Peralta.
Yeah. Okay. I remember. Yeah.
Yep. I've had him on. He was on one of my first podcasts, and we went back and told all of our training martial arts stories, and great guy. But dude, we had such a good crew for that one. We just kept everything fun. Everything was fun.
Yeah
Couldn't have done it without you guys.
I was happy to be there.
Oh, dude. Well, I took all the lessons I learned from you and built a business out of it. So
that's amazing. That is just crazy amazing.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't have done it without you. And so what I did is I took equal parts Marty Casey and equal parts Ryan Dexter, and I blend them together, and I use what I need at appropriate times. So sometimes I'm really nice to my runners, and I'm like, oh, just give me one more bite. Come on, man, you can do it. And sometimes I'm like, what are you out here for? Did you sign up for this race? Just what are you here for? Come on, man. I want a sub 20-hour finish, drill sergeant. I give them whatever they need at the time.
I've forgotten about that side. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, yeah, it was funny because I was coming from having you as a pacer that was always nice to me. And then when oh man, he kind of scared me. I thought he was going to literally kick my ass into the finish, and that's pretty much what he did. What are you here for, man? I want a sub 20-hour finish. Did you come all the way from Boulder back to Wisconsin to walk it in for a 24-hour finish? I'm like, oh God. All right, Dexter, I'll keep moving.
It worked though, right?
It worked. I made it in, puking the whole way. Oh, dude. So when are you going to come out to Colorado?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
No, I should probably just, the nice thing about Colorado is we'll probably drive, so we can be on a much tighter window. So, I wouldn't book an airline ticket at this stage, not knowing, what the the situation is. So, yeah, driving, it'd be nice to take a vacation when things aren't so locked down, right? So you can eat out without worrying about it. So a lot of it will probably hinge on that, like where things are between now and the summertime.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, come on out, man. You're welcome here
Right.
anytime.
I appreciate that.
We'll climb some mountains, eat some good food, have some laughs, all the usual stuff. You got any advice for me for this 200-miler I'm facing? Like, what should I do? Or should I just not even do the thing? What am I doing, Marty? Why am I doing this?
You signed up for this.
I know, man.
Advice, the 200 is a special distance, I've seen people hallucinating at T-Bug for, in the 200. So it's a special place of, the highs and lows that you go through. So that's like uncharted territory, right?
Big time. Yeah, big time. It's twice as.
So how many days? Tell me what's your, is it a, I know it's obviously you're on the clock as soon as you leave, but what kind of time frame are they giving you for?
Oh, the time frame is pretty long. I mean, I want to say the course is open for damn near 5 days.
Okay.
So I've got plenty of time. So all the advice everyone's given me so far is like, if you're tired, lay down, take a nap. I mean, you can take hours naps and not have to worry about cutoffs, so, and I've talked to some pretty elite runners that have given me some advice, and I've talked to a couple other 200-mile dabblers that have given me a little bit of advice, and they're like, just keep going, man. If you have to walk it in for the last 100 miles, you're probably going to have enough time to do it. So, yeah, it's going to be brutal, but I mean, some of my first ultra running hallucinations were with you when we were running Leadville and coming back around Turquoise Lake. I'm like, Marty, I think I'm hallucinating. You turn around and look at me with crazy eyes and you're like, welcome. Like, oh man, I guess I'm in the club now.
You signed up for it.
Yeah. Well,
it can make for good memories though.
That's true. We could write a book with all of our memories, man.
So you'll have rest periods, right? It's not like you're running 200 miles straight with a 60-hour cutoff. So, that's a different kind of an animal. I wish I had advice for you, but
yeah, I
have no experience there.
Yeah.
Multi-day.
I know. Yeah. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm just looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. Training's going good. Trying to get my diet on point. Everything's going good so far. I mean, it's only April. I'm still early, but
right.
Yeah, we'll get it
done. Do you have a mandatory gear set that you have to carry?
That's a good question. I should probably know that, but I don't really think so. Because it's not like it's a point to point. It's several out and backs, and we keep coming back to the start. So, I don't think there's a mandatory gear that we have to carry, but, I don't know. I don't look that stuff up till the night before the race. You know that. I don't look up.
You don't want your clients hearing that.
Yeah. Right. I look up their stuff. I study their stuff more fastidiously than I study my stuff, Well,
that'll be interesting. I'll be curious to hear your stories of 200 miles.
I'm sure I'll come away with a few, man, for sure.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Whenever I'm out there running, I always think you're like running with me. I always think of your words and I always think of your pointers and just give me one more bite, man.
Well, you're a pretty positive dude too. So I'm sure you see however you get there, that's the trick, right? To
totally
talk yourself into that. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Well, dude, so good talking to you,
man.
Been
good catching up with you.
Absolutely. You look great. You look happy.
Thank you.
Colorado.
You too.
Good. Come up to Colorado.
All right.
I want to get you up some more mountains. We'll do some more.
Perfect.
Something you haven't done before.
Let's get it on the calendar.
The last one we did was Longs, right?
Right.
Yeah. And that was a blast, man. took all freaking day, but it was a blast.
All day. An adventure that I won't forget. Trust me, my friend.
Same. Yeah. Well, let's make some more.
All right.
Cool, Marty. Well, so good to hear from you, dude. Keep in touch.
You too.
All right,
okay.
man. We'll talk soon.
Love you, brother.
Love you, brother. Bye. We'll see you.